Hi guys, welcome to my channel. Today in this beautiful weather, beautiful cafe, we have beautiful Nadja from Croatia. She is a writer, a journalist, and she lives in Belgrade, and we are now in Belgrade. And I really wanted to hear her story because she lived abroad in different countries. She traveled all over. She also writes about traveling. She has a really big experience of traveling, of writing about traveling, of working remotely, and also living in Belgrade already for from September last year.
8 months.
8 months. And she just also wants to give us this perspective of Croatian living in Serbia, which is kind of like brother land, but still not really. And so we want to talk also about that. And I want to start with a short introduction of Nadja, how she went from living in Zagreb, actually in Croatia, to traveling, how she transferred her career, and to hear more about her writing experience, journalism experience. So Nadja, how you get your job, how you started to be a journalist, how all this journey went for you? It's very interesting. In Croatia.
I was born in Zagreb in Croatia, and I lived there like all of my life. I was briefly living in London, but I was working in the biggest daily newspaper in Croatia called Jutarnji List since I was 24, and I worked there for 14 years. And then when the crisis hit, the economic crisis in 2009, everything went spiral, it went down. And the journalism was the first one that got hit, and that wasn't the same thing. As we know what it turned into, so I didn't really want it to be part of that anymore. And with my then boyfriend, I decided to move to Asia. Because we just went for one crazy holiday and we loved it, and we decided to sell everything, rent our apartments and go.
And quit, or you transferred to remote work?
No, we just had some savings. We had no idea what we will do, so that was a leap of faith.
Yeah.
So in 2013, in January, we just bought a one-way ticket to Bangkok in Thailand, and I had like my backpack with 14 kilos of all of my stuff. That was it, Everything else was gone. I even sold my shoes, which was a huge shock to me. So first we went to Bangkok, and then we went to Koh Tao, little island in Thailand, and we lived in Thailand for like 4 months, and then we went to Malaysia, to Borneo. And from Borneo we just decided to go to Bali, to Indonesia. And the minute we landed on Bali, there was something special in the air, I cannot explain it, just the atmosphere was so nice and beautiful, and people were so friendly. We landed, we went to look for the apartment, like for a bungalow, and the one that we found, we stayed there for another almost 7 years. So.
Wow, in the same apartment?
Yes, because we found a beautiful resort near one of the most beautiful beaches for surfing.
Where
called
it is?
Balangan. It's on the south part of the Bali. You have like a peninsula, it's called Bukit. So this is the surf area. And the Balangan beach is one of the most famous ones in the world for surfing, because you can surf there all around the world. All around the year, sorry. And it was so good, and it was cheap, and it was nice. So we didn't want to change it. And then
you stayed for 7 years without leaving?
No. We went back to Europe. Like the longest was for a year and a half. I didn't come back home. But then we would be there for 6, 7, 8 months. We would come back for a month or two and then come back again. Yeah, so it was like that. I think we were home like for 4 times in 6 or 7 years, something like that. And then, as I traveled, first the editor of Cosmopolitan Croatia called me to write, to have a column to write for them. And then it started to expand, and I just realized I need a good Wi-Fi. This is all I need, But actually the biggest turning point for me was with the content marketing, which happened 5 years ago. So one of the agencies needed the content writer. This is basically you write for the agency, which has a client, and it was a Qatar Airways. So they needed journalists who will write the agency article, but to make it not so stiff. It needed
Uh-huh.
to be, nice, buzzy, sexy, whatever. And I started that cooperation, and it turned out to be a whole new branch of a business, content marketing. Wow. So now I basically work with agencies for content marketing. This is where I earn my money from, and it's very successful. So this is how it all started, actually. And this is how I turned from freelance into, I have my own business now, but I can still be anywhere in the world. This is very important to me.
So you write for online platforms like online journal, or it's like normal
No.
journal?
For example, I still write for Cosmopolitan Croatia. I write for one of the most successful companies, agencies in Zagreb called 404. So, for example, now we have, a big campaign for the chain of hotels. They need magazines. I give them content. And then they have, the commercial for Philips, for Qatar, for anything. They call me, I give them content. So I don't meet the client, I just work with the agency, and that's it. They have the deadline, this is it.
Interesting. And so I saw your articles. You also make pictures, like you send also them your pictures, like traveling and things.
When I do, because I used to have a column for traveling before Corona for Cosmos,
Yeah.
so now I'm landed for a while. But yeah, I took photos, and I make like the whole article about that.
Yeah.
As
So
well.
it's you kind of switch from journalist to content.
Yeah, because now you cannot live out of the journalism
Yeah.
anymore. This is the thing, It's very, very narrow. It's very like, it's because of the commercials. There is no real content anymore. Even when you see some like travel articles, they are all,
like interconnected,
I wore these shoes and I
yeah.
stayed in this hotel because it's paid. And
Yeah, I understand. It's still
So-
like some creative thoughts, of course, goes interconnected with advertising and things. But I think it's future anyway, content
Yes,
marketing,
yes.
and also in YouTube content marketing and
Of
written
course,
content marketing.
the journalism and the advertising is so it's like a web now. So a journalist now should be like a one-man band. He should create something, sell something, and
But
be
take a picture.
take photos, take videos. Video is like
Videos,
the
yeah.
future, of course, and you have to do everything, and you have to know how to sell yourself.
Copywriter.
Yes, and you know how to sell
your.
yourself. This is
Yeah.
the thing, and it's
a
not
hard
easy.
job,
It's
no?
it's actually you should be
Yeah.
an entrepreneur if you're
Yeah,
a journalist.
yeah.
It's not an easy job. So, and for journalists, it's very hard because they do not know how to sell themselves. They just want to write a story, but. Now in
Yeah.
21st century, in 2021, you need to sell yourself and do everything by yourself.
And with all this remote work booming, everybody writes.
Yeah.
It's huge.
And you need to offer something that nobody else offers. This is like the key to success. I
Yeah,
mean.
you
Sounds
have-
very vague, but
But you have your benefit. You have Croatian language, which is spoken quite widely, right? And then your English is perfect, like,
Well,
and
yeah.
your Russian as well. Your Russian language, like, you also speak some Indonesian, right?
I speak Indonesian like not
Order
really speak.
food,
I can order food and speak with them. I cannot write in Indonesian. Yeah, also with Russian, I can order food like blini, but I cannot speak it
Yeah.
fluently. English, yeah. I also wrote for a Bali magazine when I was down in Bali. So, you can always find a job if you're looking for a job.
Yeah,
Really, and you don't have to be stationed anywhere physically. This is like the thing of the past, to go
Yeah.
to a job 9 to 5. This is crazy. It's really, especially Corona showed us it's not
Yeah.
necessary in most of
Yeah.
the professions. So
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
For many was mind changed. Like
Yeah.
But what do you like the most about being a journalist or a writer, content creator, content marketer? What's the best part of it?
Because writing is my passion. I love to write, and this is the best way of expressing myself. Even if I didn't make money through that, I would still write because this is my way of being myself. Let's say it like that. And if I can earn money through that, this is like, I don't even consider it to be a job.
Yeah, that's true. So if you really love writing, I also like to write. Yeah, I'm also content creator, writer full time.
So content is not just writing; it's also video, it's photos, it's everything now.
Yeah,
you know?
it's like a full package. Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
And especially video now, also you get to hop in
Yeah.
as a video since many things I got into video. What brought you to Belgrade actually? Like why Bali and Belgrade, two different
Bali,
places?
Belgrade. Well, I
it's
came
not
to
a
Belgrade
Bali.
first in 2017, which was almost 4 years ago, and I don't know. I came to this town, and immediately I felt like I kind of like belong here. The vibe, the mentality of the people. I love the people. And in Bali, believe it or not, there are many Serbian people. I met them there, and they're still my friends.
I don't know where you meet Serbian people, Russian people in Bali. Like I was like, what?
Because Serbian government has some special arrangement with the Indonesian government for the internship.
Wow.
So most of the people go to the masters in Bali or in Java, and then they come to live in Bali. So this is how they end up there.
Wow,
Yeah.
that's interesting.
And then I came to Belgrade and I really loved it. I love the people, I love the food, I love the atmosphere. Everybody was super nice. And from 2017, I kept coming. I was visiting like maybe 3 or 4 times a year, and I was staying for I don't know, 2 weeks, 3 weeks with my friend. I'm staying with my friend, and I decided to move in June last year. So I came here for 2 months, and then I came back to Croatia, and officially I moved here on 11th of September 2020.
So why not Zagreb? Like, why Belgrade won?
Well, for personal reasons mainly, but still Zagreb is very quiet, you know, very... I kind of like felt that Belgrade would be better for me because it has many more choices, varieties. And also in pandemic, you know, Zagreb was closed and everybody was hanging, you know, in their apartments. And I don't know, I didn't feel like I wanted to do that, you know. I just wanted to come here, and it was a good choice, absolutely.
So you are glad that you chose to...
Yes, I love it here. I love Belgrade. Yeah. Because even if you don't know anyone, it's easy to make friends. In my experience, you know, you can, and you will never be hungry. Everybody will invite you for drinks. Everybody will find time. If you're a foreigner, they're super nice to you. Even if you're Croatian, you know, doesn't matter. It's all cool. So I feel very, very welcome here.
What are the biggest differences you see then between Belgrade and Zagreb and Croatia and Serbia?
Well, I can speak for Belgrade and Zagreb because Croatia, you know, I also... Zagreb is what I am. I'm Zagreb girl, let's say it like that. And I guess the rest of the Serbia and rest of the Croatia have different mentalities. So Zagreb and Belgrade are capitals, you know, and the biggest maybe difference is the vibe, because people here are very loud. And in Zagreb we are more reserved, you know. For example, when I came first, and I met some nice girls and we started to hang out, and they would always hug me, you know, and I was like, why do you want to hug me all the time? Please don't touch me, you know. I was very like, ooh. But now I understand it's a big part of the culture. They're warmer than us, you know. They are like louder. They are, this is. They're more tough as well. If you see it in the traffic, they drive like crazy. They don't even stop on a pedestrian crossing. So they're tough. They're tougher. I would say, or maybe they act tougher. But, you know.
So people here hug you. What would you in Zagreb then? We handshake you or say hello?
Hi, buck, hey. I did hug even with my best friends from the childhood, you know. And here they hug you all the time. We just say hey.
Friends,
Here they hug you all the time, which was for me that was like, but now I get it. So yeah.
So what then the biggest differences between Serbs and Croatians as a people?
I think we are more reserved. We are more reserved,
so
for
more
sure.
Like
in
European,
Zagreb,
goes into Europe.
Yeah, we are colder. You know, it's not so easy to get into that circle in Zagreb as it is in Belgrade. But also it's very different in Dalmatia, which is southern part of Croatia. Maybe that is the biggest difference.
Yeah, maybe it's all like I don't know.
Zagreb is more, you can even see it in girls, for example, in women. Here, everything is accentuated, everything is big. Makeup, hair,
Lips,
dresses, everything is like over the top. And when you go to Zagreb, you dress like that only for a wedding, like women here dress for every day. So this is also this mentality,
It's not that far away and such a big difference. In the looks, you
it is.
see I had been to Zagreb twice or once. I don't remember how many times. Yeah, like it was for me like Europe, I don't know.
It's like Middle Europe, Middle European. This is what we like to think of ourselves, like we're Middle
nothing
European.
special about people. We're very mediocre European, and in Serbia you see already a totally different picture like this.
Yeah, and also Belgrade is a huge city. I think unofficially it has around 3 million people. Zagreb is less than 1 million. So it's smaller, it's more family oriented, it's greener, it's cleaner, it's more beautiful. But I think it's more for the families. You have like seaside, 1 hour of driving, you have the mountains. Zagreb is really beautiful place to live. But if you're outside of the box, you don't have a family or different, Belgrade is the place, like London is the place. So the bigger the city, the more choices you have.
Yeah, I felt like the nightlife in Zagreb wasn't
non-existent.
It wasn't really like something
non-existent comparing to Belgrade.
Yeah,
it's also when you know the locals from Zagreb. If you go another time, I will take you. It is there, but you cannot compare it to Belgrade.
Yeah, like old town, kind of like. You have this district where all these old restaurants, like tourist place, actually. But the rest, like there is nothing going on. You like.
Well, there is. There is, but it's not so big like in Belgrade. Like the landmark of Belgrade is nightlife, or it will be again once.
Cafe culture, nightlife, like more this.
For us, it's more like coffees in the morning. It's a day city, The city is bursting throughout the day, but when the night comes, you need to know the places where to go. It's not so vibrant.
Nice. So what did you like the most about living in Croatia, Serbia, and Bali? Because Bali, a totally different place from all of these places, but still
totally
it's
different.
Croatia also now becoming this digital nomad
we just had
the visa.
The visas for digital nomads just got approved by our government, which is a huge step. I think it's amazing because you can stay for 1 year.
Yeah,
and Croatia is amazing. It's so beautiful. You can go to the coast. You can stay in Zagreb. And I think that this is huge. So I miss the most from Zagreb my bicycle, because here everything is up and down. You cannot,
And I would not live here outside bicycle. I would worry that maybe we got stealed. I don't see bicycles left outside here. Not
because
many
nobody rides the bicycle because it's so hilly up and down. You would die, on a bicycle. So it's not bike friendly at all, And if there are no paths even for the cyclists,
true.
So it's not nice to ride a bicycle in Belgrade. But in Zagreb, if you have a bike, you just, you go everywhere and you can arrive in 15 minutes to anywhere you want to go. So this is what I miss. I miss the parks. Because Zagreb is so green, it's.
Belgrade, it's not enough for you.
No.
Every
It's
corner
like
of
every
park.
5 minutes you have park in Zagreb. It's it's much grayer here. This is what I miss in Zagreb. I miss my friends, of course, and I miss like going to the market. We have this huge thing on Saturday mornings. You go to the market, to buy fresh veggies and fruit, and then you meet with people for coffee, which is not coffee, but usually rakia and beer, and it goes on and on and on. So this is like something really, really nice that I miss a lot.
You don't go here to the green markets?
No, I never go. I don't know, it's not such a big tradition, because in Zagreb, when I go, it's in the center of Zagreb, and then you meet people, you say, let's go for a coffee, you invite friends, it's sort of like a huge happening.
Here you can meet grandmas, like invite them
yeah,
for
yeah,
rakia.
Yeah. So it's not a thing here.
grandmas.
It's not a thing here. In Zagreb, it's a huge thing on Saturday mornings.
I mean, it's a huge thing for all the people, definitely. I go to the green market, my
Where
colleagues.
do you go? Which one?
We are everywhere, like literally. You just, we are like, sometimes somewhere like in a in districts. Like every district has the green market, but it can be like hidden. For example, in Zeleni Venak, it's like one of the oldest one. It's just right here, but it's more for older population. And when you go there,
okay.
you will see grandmas and grandpas. Yeah.
I like to go to the markets wherever I travel. So, but here, also my problem is I don't like to have cash. I always pay with cards, you know. So this is, and because when I have to cash withdraw it from the ATM, it's like huge commission. So I prefer to go to the store now.
No, in the market only cash. What did you like the most then about Belgrade?
What do I like here? I like the people. That are very warm, amazing. Everybody, from the people in my cafes to the cashier, the market, and to my friends. I never had any problems. They're really, really super nice. I love the food. Food is amazing.
Is it different to Croatian?
Here you have more meat. Everything is more like barbecue.
Yeah, barbecue.
But I like meat, so I like it.
Yeah,
there is, but all the best barbecues are done by Serbian people. So
Croatia.
This is like their specialty.
I like in Croatia this. It's like pie, like sweet ones. How it's called? It's very popular ones.
Sweet
like
with an apple, strudel.
No, like it. It's some traditional like
Strukli? No?
Strukli, yeah.
Strukli with the cheese. It's Zagreb specialty.
It's so like, oh my god, it's so many colors. It's like burik, but the Serbian one or Croatian one, it was amazing. I like this.
I mean Zagreb has also good food, but Serbians are more, they put this barbecue on a pedestal. So
so you like barbecue?
I do.
I love it. It's amazing.
And also, I don't know, the city, it has so many choices, even with all of this corona happening and everything closed, you can still go out here, you can still feel free in a way, and I like that.
Especially with the corona, it's the most free place overall.
And I had corona while I was here, but all of the people would come and they would leave the food on my terrace, and everybody was so nice. And this is actually now the best place for me to be in the world with this corona and all the restrictions. You still have this feeling that you are free and that everything is normal, although it's not and may never be. But here, I feel really, really free.
Yeah, and people will never accept this ridiculous restrictions. So all countries are putting. People will fight for freedom, and I really, really love it. Like, I don't want to accept this all bullshit restrictions this European Union does.
They don't even know what they're doing anymore. Everybody does something else, So, even with all of this is great. You can hang out, you can sit outside, and So that's about Belgrade. About Bali, I miss the ocean. Because it's so soothing, and I used to live just 1 kilometer off the beach, so that was amazing. And I miss my scooter to go around. That was freedom for me. I miss the food in Indonesia because I ate a lot of fish, which is not so common here.
Definitely.
And the lifestyle was totally different. It was basically like living on your vacation all the time. That was it.
Did you hang out with digital nomads or locals?
But the thing is, but not with the locals, because the locals they don't interfere with the expats so much.
I felt
that's the problem in Asia. I got as far as how are you, and today's a beautiful day. Like, this was our conversation, unfortunately. They're very different because Balinese are very traditional. They all live in big families. The biggest achievement in life is to get married and have kids, So, I mean, we are totally different. So their, values are totally different than mine. But I loved Bali. I still love it, and I plan to come back. It's an amazing vibe on that island. And also they're smiling all the time.
Yeah, but in this
so they're smiling all of the time. And when you come from Europe, where everybody's like, and then you come to Bali and everybody's smiling at you, and you're like, like, why are those people smiling at me? Like, what's
Yeah,
funny? Am I like, what
yeah.
happened?
Everybody happy,
yeah,
but they work
everybody's
so
happy.
hard. Yeah, they're like in tourism industry.
Yeah.
They're still happy.
But Balinese are very wealthy now because they sold or rented out their like villas and land to the foreigners. So now it's good for them.
Yeah.
And they respect their tradition as well. There is an amazing tradition of their culture and their religion, which is unique in the world. And it's all very laid back. For example, if you don't do something today, you will do it tomorrow or day after tomorrow. You know, they're not like structured at all. Of course, after a while, you go crazy because nothing is structured. So, but it's like being on a holiday all year long.
You found yourself productive, or how was your work in Bali?
Well, this is also the problem. There are so many distractions that you cannot be so productive all the time because you live by the beach. Somebody is always passing by. Something is happening, you know?
Yeah, like 100 things and
it's hard to be productive in Bali.
Yeah, that's I found the problem with Asia. It's much easier to be digital nomad in Serbia than being in Asia and be successful because you got distracted 100 times per day.
It's true.
It's a good jump to what you hated the most in these countries, like Bali, Serbia, Croatia.
Like the downsides of the countries.
Yeah.
For example, in Bali, so finally, I don't know, you settle down, you find some people to hang out with, and then they leave because nobody stays forever, you know?
Yeah.
So there were periods of time when there was a rainy season that we were alone, you know, and you don't see another human being for like, I don't know, 10 days because there is no one, because we lived really remotely. And that was like, I didn't like that. Nothing was constant, you know, everything was changing all of the time. Also, the pollution was horrible.
Pollution?
Yes, because in Bali you have, I don't know, 1 billion scooters. And you don't have to go through a technical checkup, so you can imagine plastic in the ocean. They didn't have this awareness of the plastic, so that was really sad, you know, that was really horrible. That was the downside. In Zagreb, downside is that, I don't know, people are somewhat...
Wait a second, I want to ask, how you find this living in Bali and all the transportation and infrastructure? Was it for you fine? Like,
no, it's a third world country. You have to be aware of that. So it all looks amazing when you're on holiday. Like, wow. But then when you live there, for example, drinking water, it doesn't exist. You have to buy it, right? And then when you take a shower, you live by the beach, so sometimes the water is like, you know, a little bit sandy or a little bit some other color than transparent. So mosquitoes, ants, bugs.
This I hated about Asia.
The mosquitoes were my worst enemy. I hated mosquitoes, you know. Also, infrastructure is super bad because they went from being just a village people. 40 years later, they became one of the most known destinations in the world, and the infrastructure didn't follow that, you know. So you have super nice hotels, you have all of the biggest
don't drink it, but
infrastructure. So the roads are really bad, and the traffic jams are always. So to get from one part of the island to the other, it takes you at least an hour, and we are talking about 20 kilometers, right? So that was huge downside. But since I was working from home, you know, I didn't have to go so often. But if you want to go somewhere, you need at least hour and a half, you know, to drive through that polluted air. So that was also like not so cool. Infrastructure, water, third world country.
I just surprised, like, you lived there for 7 years. For me, it's like, wow, that's so like insane. I think there are not many people who were in Bali for such a long period of time, right?
There are people, you know, there are many like foreigners who have their villas there, Jack Nicholson, for example. So, but they tend to be there during the winter, and when it's nice in Europe or in US, they go back home. So for me, this is actually perfect to be there during when it's cold here, and to come back when it's spring and summer in Europe.
Yeah, I think maybe suited you, like a creative mindset, the Bali.
Yeah.
'Cause,
It gives you, the Bali gives you the energy, the good energy,
Yeah.
you know, the vibe. And this is what you cannot maybe get here in the Balkans, because all the mentality is like, people can also be very tough, you know, and it gets to you after a while, you know. But in Bali, I go for that shot of good energy.
Yeah, I mean, and the nature also brings this energy to you, like creativity. But for me in Asia, it was like this unorganized infrastructure and the things which are from third world country. That, for example, really like punched me in the face when I worked
Cultural
there.
shock. Where have you been? Which part? Which country?
Like in the Bali, I was months in India and in other South Asian countries. But like India, of course, is different. But like Bali, I was on a vacation there. But like I would not imagine like to be there for 7 years, you know, and to work during the 7 years. You can do like yoga 7 years and like write a book, you know, like in your free
You know, I
time.
never did yoga. For me, this is super boring. Sorry, yoginis, but for me, yoga
Yeah,
is like, this is not
agree.
me. I cannot do yoga, and it's a
Yeah.
big yoga place, and I never
Yeah.
even surfed because I'm not into the ocean. You
Me
know?
too, so we are really similar.
yeah.
Not sure, no yoga, but I love India, I love Bali.
Yeah. So, but we also
Weird people, no? Like people will say, you're weird. Why you go there?
It's just
Yeah.
so laid back and beautiful. But also we
Yeah.
traveled a lot because the flights are so cheap, you know, to go to Thailand, to Vietnam, to Sri Lanka, to Philippines. Super cheap. So when it's rainy season, we also traveled and went for a month or like that to just go somewhere.
It's nice.
So that was good.
Yeah. It's a nice location. The airport is not that far, right? You
Yeah,
can
it
reach
was really near to
from
the place where I
everywhere.
lived. Yeah.
Yeah, I think Bali it's like the if I would look at the Asia, South of Asia, and I think Bali it's like the most optimal place to be to work from because
Yeah.
I can't imagine in other countries it's really difficult. I think Bali it's
And it has a huge expat community as well. You know, many people from all around the world, digital nomads. Everybody's working from there. So even though there is no optic internet, there was not an optic internet while I was
Wow.
living there. So that was crazy. I would just put like my laptop in my bag, and I would hop on my scooter and just go and drive to find a good Wi-Fi in like a cafe shop. You know, and we would call ourselves Wi-Fi chasers, you know,
Wow.
because the internet was so scarce. I would go and I would drive, and then some guy would come like from outside the cafe, and he was waving, no Wi-Fi, no Wi-Fi, no. And I had the deadline like, So those were the crazy times in a
Oh my
digital
God.
nomad life.
Yeah, like when
Yeah.
you search for a Wi-Fi half a day, like
Yeah,
and
and you
finally,
cannot
yeah.
upload a photo, you know.
Yeah,
so.
we're talking about 1 hour of interview. I mean, guys, try
This
to
cannot
upload,
go.
Like, this.
It doesn't happen.
I would not succeed in the Bali with
No way.
with our videos. Yeah, nice. So we had talk about what you hate in Bali, what you hate in Serbia the most, what you like.
Hey, it's like maybe
didn't
downsides of
downside.
Belgrade, the pollution as well. Oh my God, the air is so polluted.
that's
I
like-
didn't even realize up until recently because I live in
Winter, yeah. Also.
yes, and I live near Takovska Street, which is one of the main streets. And one day I looked like outside of the window, and it was like foggy. And I was like, wow, what's happening? It's foggy.
Yeah, foggy.
I realized this is not a fog.
Yeah.
This is pollution, and I could see it on the cars. You know, they were all covered in gray. This is like really, really bad.
Yeah.
Really bad, you know.
Winter is really bad, yeah, in Belgrade.
And it was so cold. And for me, like this winter is lasting forever because I live in a house and I cannot, you know, I'm not used to winter here. So I'm like, oh, but this is all, I mean, it's not so bad because I'm not included, like I don't have to commute to work. I don't have to, you know, do anything with their banks, with their system, with the politics. So I live like in a bubble.
Yeah.
So this is it. Also, traffic is crazy to get to one part to the other part.
Yeah, I don't take public transportation. I try to avoid it as I can as well.
I don't do public transportation. I either walk or I take this cargo, which is cool. But you know, it's I imagine if you have to commute to work in Belgrade, it's a nightmare.
Yeah. No, like 8:30, I guess, when it starts
No.
and everybody goes on the
Oh,
road.
no.
Oh no, thank you.
Yeah.
We are lucky people that we just work from home. I
We
mean,
are lucky to work from home, although when
Oh
you
my
have
God.
that deadline and you have to work and then it's like 7 o'clock in the evening, you're still in your pajamas. So, yeah. It all has its, good moments and bad moments. So it's not all just peaches being a digital nomad.
Yeah. Do you like to work from a cafes or mostly home?
I love to work from home because I wake up, I have my coffee, I sip it for like 2 hours, I do like this, and maybe when it's going to be nice, I would go out for maybe 2 times a week to sit in a nice cafe or have a lunch or something. But usually I like to do it from home. Yeah.
Yeah, me too. But only after COVID. Before COVID, I was in cafes or in my university library, but never home. But COVID, I mean, when you don't go to cafe, like
Yeah.
go to sit on the street, like you only have your home.
Yeah.
And I think for many it has changed a lot. Like home
Yeah,
now,
yeah.
the first place, like
Yeah.
wins.
I like to work
Now
from home.
cafes are suffering because we need people, but people get used to home. Sorry. Yeah,
of
that's.
course. Of course. I know.
But that's also benefit because you don't spend money, like you save money, and and
Yeah.
way to cafe, the walk and stuff. Yeah, so
Sometimes when I used to work in the cafes, that would be good because I would have like a certain amount of time. Okay, I will go there for 2 hours. I have to finish it. Bam.
Yeah.
But when you're at home,
Yeah, I have a tired day. Like who cares?
and then you cook something, and then you do this and that, and then it prolongs. So this is all. It can be tricky. So.
Oh,
Yeah.
so not many things you didn't like about Serbia. Good.
Well, pollution is my main, and the traffic, But other than that, like, I like it. Overall, I would say like 95% of things I really like.
That's good. That's a right choice then. What
Yeah.
about Croatia? What you did?
Croatia.
Like about your country,
Well,
Zagreb.
Zagreb. I love Zagreb. It's my hometown. I always love to come back, but after a while, it just gets a little bit boring.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I don't know. Maybe I just need a new challenge. But I wouldn't choose Zagreb for my living place at this time in my life. Maybe in the future, But it doesn't have at the moment what I'm asking for, and this is like this nice lifestyle, going out and hanging out. I have more friends now in Belgrade than I have in Zagreb, which is crazy. So.
Yeah, maybe your friends in Zagreb will like get married and settle, kids and all this.
People in Zagreb live in their boxes, like this. So.
Go to job, probably have normal job, so it's already different.
Normal job.
Yeah,
Normal
maybe
job.
to commute to normal office or something like that. Yeah.
So it's beautiful, but no, I just need like this energy of this town of Belgrade suits me more. My mentality here is way better.
Yeah, I can understand because you lived in Bali, so I can relate to this as well. Like because this is a place for people who are more adventurous, who like to see places, and I would kill myself from boredness in Zagreb. Like,
Of course, it depends of the circle, of friends that you have. If you have family, I don't have family, so it's easier. So I don't have to visit. I don't have to worry. So I'm free. But it's a beautiful city to spend a certain amount of time every year, but not all the time for me.
yeah, in Croatia I would go rather to the coast then, because if you're in
coast is
Croatia, I
amazing.
mean, why not live by the sea?
Because it's winter time, also for 5 months, and it's cold and there's no one. So the season starts in May up until September. This is the best way to visit it, which is beautiful, definitely.
But the locals, by like go to
Dalmatians,
yeah.
locals. What do you mean?
Why there are no one in the winter? Where are the locals?
They are there, but the Croatia is not so big, and if you go to like cities such as Split, which has 400,000 people, that is not a lot, right? If you go to Zadar, it's even fewer. If you go to the islands, I don't know, there are some islands where there's like 1,000 people. Why would you go there? You would need to either have a family or be very focused on your work or what to do in the winter on an island. that you cannot use, you cannot swim, you cannot do anything. It's cold. So Dalmatia is amazing, but only when it's. I mean, it can be amazing during the winter as well, but it's very lonesome if you don't have a family or a partner or a person or.
Yeah, still Novi Sad is really nice city and it's only 300,000.
Novi Sad, yeah, and
Yeah.
Novi Sad actually has a mentality which is similar to Croatian mentality.
Ah.
Very similar.
They like to relax or
yeah,
no,
they're
what?
more laid back. They're more relaxed. Yeah, they're more similar to us than the Belgrade.
Yeah, I like Novi Sad. I would like to go to the Split. I was in Dubrovnik, but not Split. I would go to Split. For 400,000, it's really.
Split is beautiful. It's amazing.
Worth to visit.
And Split is also the hub to go to the islands. You know, Vis, Hvar. We have so many beautiful islands, and you should go during the summer. You even have like airplane that goes directly from Belgrade to Split. It lasts 35 minutes, and it starts, I think, in June or July. So it's good.
Yeah, I will go. And so, what about cost of living? So, if we take a single person, a digital nomad like you, travel by themselves, like quite minimalistic, how much do you need in a Bali, in a Serbia?
So I think the
Zagreb?
Bali is the cheapest.
Even cheaper than Belgrade?
Yes.
Oh wow.
Yes, because the food is super cheap. In Bali, the most expensive thing is alcohol. If you want to drink beer, it's like 5 times more expensive than the plate of fried rice, which is their national dish, because it's an Indonesian country and it's a Muslim country, so the prices on the alcohol are super high. If you don't drink beer, you can live with 500 euros per month with everything.
Wow.
You know, especially now with the corona prices, because the Bali is still closed for the tourists. You can go, you can buy like a business visa for 4 million rupiah, which is around 300 euros, and it lasts for 6 months. You can rent a house for 200 euros.
Like a house or?
Like a bungalow. You can have villa for I don't know, for 500 euros you get a villa or amazing place by the beach now. It's now in Corona time, you know, it's super cheap, super cheap.
And if we take normal prices, because Corona.
Okay, let's take the normal prices. We, my ex-partner and I, we could live for 700 euros per month with everything, with visas, with rent, with the bills, with everything. And we lived like in a mini resort. With a pool, with a beautiful garden near the beach.
So in this resort you have like it's like kind of like apartment, or is it?
It's like a bungalow. So you have a room, you have a kitchen, you have a bathroom, and you live outside most of the time. You know, you don't need much.
So
Like this.
Basically, it's like the bedroom with a.
Yeah.
So-
Yeah.
And if you want to like apartment, I want to like my.
There are
like,
no apartments in Bali. There are like. You can rent a villa or you can rent a house, but usually people rent bungalows because you have like a nice outside area where you chill, where you cook, you have a room where you sleep, and that's it. You don't need, you know, what do you need?
Yeah, in
you
Asia you don't need much.
You don't need much because it's warm all of the time. It's 30
And
degrees throughout the
mosquitoes are there outside
Well,
waiting
yeah.
for you.
Yeah.
I could live like that in India, but in Bali I lived more like expensive way because of vacation. It was vacation. But I could not imagine like for both of you 700
Yeah.
or each,
Both.
like with the food.
Both. Yeah, because when you live there, then you know where to buy food. I cooked, so fish is super cheap, rice is cheap, veggies are cheap, you know, and it's totally doable.
Wow.
And you don't need much, so you have one flip-flops, you rent scooter for 50 euros per month, and the liter of gas was let me just calculate it. It was half of a euro for 1 liter of the gas because the Indonesian government is substituting the gas and everybody's riding it. So I put like the gas in my scooter for 10 euros and I drive for half of a month with that, you know. So this is super cheap.
Wow.
And if you live like their way, you don't want to eat steaks or pizzas and stuff like that.
Oh no, yeah, that's expensive.
Then you live cheaply. It's totally doable.
So what's about Belgrade, like Serbia?
Belgrade's cheaper than Zagreb. A rent in Belgrade, if you want to have like a nice place, is from 300 to 500 euros, I think. And you still have to pay around 100 or 120 euros for all the facilities.
Yeah,
But the food, if you eat outside, it's super cheap. I mean, super cheap. Comparing
Yeah.
to Bali, it's twice or 3 times the price. But comparing to Zagreb, it's twice less. You know, and
Yeah.
beer is cheap in Belgrade. It's like
Yeah.
almost nothing. And if you cook at home, it's much cheaper than Zagreb. I would say, like for me, it's much cheaper than to live in Zagreb. Okay, Zagreb, I have my own apartment, so I wouldn't rent it. But still, everything is more expensive.
So what do you estimate, like?
In Zagreb, if you want to live and you don't have your own apartment, if you want to rent it, I think around 600, 700 for a super nice place like you have here in the center. And then the cost of living for facilities would be actually the same as here, like 100, 120. And then for the food, food is expensive in Croatia, even in the markets. It's more expensive than in Germany, for example, you know, even though we're in European Union, it's crazy. It's not like people friendly there. So yeah, it's very expensive to buy food in Croatia. To go outside, you would need like 10 euros maybe for a meal. Of course, you can find it cheaper, but yeah, it's more expensive.
So let's estimate like the monthly, like in a Bali for one person it can be managed with 500 euro.
Yeah.
Like
In Belgrade, it can be
minimalistic.
managed for, let me calculate,
I think 700.
700, 800, yeah?
Yeah.
You can.
Yeah.
I mean, it depends how often do you want to go out, how often do you drink or eat outside, but 700 or 800 is totally doable. With 1,000 euros, you can, you know, live like easily, like not thinking where you eat or drink.
Yeah.
But in Zagreb, if you're paying the rent, like 1,500, 1,200, 300 for sure.
Almost like, you know, almost like in Austria or in Germany. In Germany, in some cheap city, almost
It's
like
cheaper
that.
to live in Germany, I think. Yeah, Zagreb is super expensive. It's really. It's
Yeah,
crazy.
probably because Zagreb might be because of capital, maybe because
Maybe,
of that.
yeah, maybe.
If you go like in a small town, because 1,500, I mean, wow, it's quite a lot for.
I mean, I don't know
Yeah.
because I never rented the apartment there, but the apartments are super expensive to rent if you want to live in a nice place. Like if you don't want to live, you know, outside of the
Yeah,
city.
yeah. Here
yeah.
you can live in a city center. Even you can get visa bills. You can find for 500 visa bills and things in a city center. I think rarely you will find a city with such
Yeah.
a price for city center. But I can't come here under 900 still. Although I only cook myself mostly. It's hard for me to come under if I buy high quality food. But 1,000, I think like everybody can live here. Like
If they're renting if they're not renting, if they're owning, then you can really.
I wish, yeah, it's like amazing. Like if you own an apartment, like you just, oh my god.
Yeah, but their like wages are not they are around 400, 500 euros. So imagine that, you know, it's not cool.
Yeah, people mostly then live in the outskirts, right? So it's not like we would live in a city center in a nice apartment. It's outskirts. Outskirts I have seen like you can get 150 rent.
Yeah.
For 150, not even a room, an apartment. You can find a room. Like
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
in Austria I lived in a room. Like it's normal to rent a room in apartment.
Yeah.
Like
But you know, there are many people, people from Belgrade who live here and they cannot afford it. You know, that is the sad part because they're
the economy is still.
Yeah.
Would you say in Croatia the economy is better, right? So
Yeah.
people are less like struggling in that way. You would
Well,
say?
yeah, in Zagreb, yeah. Yeah.
because I still see a lot of Croatians go to Germany to work, but like
It depends
they
from
have
which part of
choice.
Croatia, because people from like Slavonia, which is eastern part of Croatia, there's nothing there. You know, some small villages. Economy is totally horrible. Like inside of Croatia, called Lika, there's nothing. It's horrible. So those people, you know, they just go to work in like Ireland, or they go to work in Germany because they can not earn money. The most the economic power is in Zagreb. If you're in Zagreb. Okay, but other parts of the country are not so good. Also in Dalmatia, during the summer it's okay because they are rent out, you know, apartments and have tourism. But other than that, no, it's not so cool. No, it's not so good. Only Zagreb it can be okay.
So either way could go to Zagreb or then to Germany, for example, to Austria, like to work. If we want to make money, I mean, then we have to go somewhere. There are not much.
Yeah, it also depends what you do, you know. But people in Croatia are also very unhappy and they want to change. They want to move out of Croatia. So then, when we entered the European Union, we could get the like working permits to go to work in, you know, Germany or whatever. And most of the people went. So yeah, that's a sad part because they can earn much more money if they don't live in Zagreb. You know, if you live in like Slavonia, you earn maybe 300 euros as well as, yeah.
Wow.
It's not cool.
Wow, yeah, let's move then. We want to
Away from those topics.
yeah, economies everywhere different, and Russia also struggles, Serbia struggles, Croatia struggles. Only Germany is fine, but still
Always.
there are a lot of people who struggles. And Nadja, you're not in a cadre.
Oh,
We're gonna move your face like shredder there. What are then the cultural differences between Croatians and Serbs? Are we brothers? Are we brothers or fighters? Or I mean,
Well,
how do you say it? Brothers?
I would say that we love each other. But we have like this horrible bloody history, you know, which is still hard to overcome. But I think that majority of people that are normal and modern, they don't care about that, you know. So we are very, very similar. And what was in the past is in the past, you know. We should just let go of that because it's 21st century. The people are going to the Mars. We need to move on from the wars and who is Serbian, who is Croat. We are very similar people. And usually when you live abroad, you see that you only hang out with like Serbians and Bosnians and Croatians. We are all like brothers. Yeah. I would say
So
we are.
abroad we hang out all together.
Yeah, always,
like, we
always,
all brothers.
always. We all brothers, you know.
Yeah. I see. Like in Germany, it's we all
Yeah,
together.
it's always
like
welcome
you don't
people
separate.
together.
Like
Yeah, no,
with Croatians.
never. Because
Yeah.
the Serbians are first to help me, you know, or Bosnians, or it's because it's our mentality. It's super like same.
Do you still see some differences? Are there like here more maybe patriarchat or something like that? Or is there
well-
something different for you?
Well,
Curious.
maybe they are more traditional here in Serbia. Like the guys are more traditional and they're very tough, you know.
Because Croatian boys were like Europeans.
Cultural differences like.
The values are very similar. Like is
With the what?
Values.
Values?
For example, is
Well, they have more traditional values, I think. I mean, at least from my circle in Zagreb, I think this is more traditional, you know, some values that they, I don't know, family and it has to be structured or something like that. Yeah, maybe they're a little bit more traditional, I would say, yeah. And they are more dramatic.
dramatic.
Yes.
In which
They're more-
sense?
in every sense. In the way that I talk, in the way that I dress. You know, it's very loud.
Emotional, yeah.
Emotionally, and more dramatic, more emotional, more like they're on a stage like this.
Ah, yeah.
Yeah.
And like you see, maybe that's why women look so different. They are always like go to I don't know. They are almost like on a stage, yeah.
Yeah.
To have
This is-
everything on, like full package.
Yes.
the game,
Yes.
the drama.
The women especially, you know, they're also very beautiful, but they even, you know, they want to be like the miss of the world. It is not needed, you know. They look beautiful without all of those gadgets like the eyelashes, this and so. Yeah.
So which woman then are most beautiful, Croatian or Serbian? Which are
Wow.
because some people say Croatian women are so beautiful, Serbian women.
I mean, all the Slavic women are very beautiful, you know, including Russians and Ukrainians and Croatians and Serbians. I think we are very, very much alike. It's just that the way we dress and the way we have this vibe, you know, the way we act is different. So I would say we are similar.
Like Croatian women are more feministic or similar to Serbs?
They're not so loud. They're not so. They're more, you know, like downsized.
Calm down.
They're more calm.
Like,
But for example, Split, the girls from Split are. I would say they're more similar to Belgrade girls. They're very loud. They have this, you know, sudden temper. But we don't have this. But yeah, I think this is like this beauty on this in this part of the world is almost the same. Yeah.
And guys, you find
Guys here are much bigger. They're much taller. They have bigger heads. Yes. And they are like very dark. You know, they're all very like sturdy and dark. They're
like more
huge.
Turkish, yeah? Like a bit.
But Turkish are not tall.
Yeah.
Serbians are very tall and sturdy. You know, you don't see a lot of people like that in Croatia. You see them on the coast, but not in Zagreb.
But who do you like the more? You like the appearance of which guys?
Well, I don't know. There is like a connection between Zagreb girls and Belgrade boys. It's always been there because we like their accent, you know, and they like us for some reason.
Because you're a cute girl with a Croatian accent.
I don't know, but there are so many couples from Belgrade and Belgrade men and Zagreb women. It's a huge community, even, you know.
Wow.
So, but of course, it depends on the man itself, you know. But the guys here would always come to you. They will not be shy, you know. They will come. They say, "How are you?" Blah blah blah. But in Zagreb, you could look each other like for 2 years and nothing will happen. So maybe they're more advanced, but they also here in Belgrade they promise you everything and they don't do anything. You know.
Too dramatic, like I will
Like
do
I
everything
will.
for you.
Yeah, and then it's like okay, nothing happens. So. Yeah, they're very dramatic, exactly, more dramatic than crazy.
So Nadja, what are your plans for the future? Do you see yourself to continue this nomadic lifestyle or do you want to settle somewhere? And if yes, then where?
Yeah,
Which
well,
country?
this is a tough question because I wanted to have a base, you know, because it's very hard to travel all the time and to live out of the suitcase. But then I settled here and I haven't been out of Serbia for 8 months and I like have this itch. I want to go somewhere. I want to travel. But I will give Belgrade a chance until the end of this year. And then we'll see because this winter was really cold. So
Yeah, I mean, Zagreb, I think Zagreb even colder, not?
it's the same.
Okay.
I even think the Belgrade is colder because of this Košava wind, you know? So when it blows, it just freezes your ass off. It's horrible. So I will see until the end of the year. I want to stay here and I really have an amazing place, amazing people that I love here and my heart is here for the moment. But maybe for the winter I would like to travel maybe and go to Asia for a few months. And for me the perfect triangle would be Bali, Zagreb and Belgrade, you know, to be able to logistically somehow do that.
Yeah, and it's nice because Zagreb is so close to Belgrade.
Yeah.
I think you can take a bus or something.
There are no buses at the moment, but you can always take like a BlaBla car or something, and somebody always goes. So it's like 3.5 hours to get to.
Yeah,
to
so
them.
it's actually really good. You can just go for a weekend if you miss the place, but you can be based there, then go
Yes.
for a winter.
Yes.
I mean, you can rent out maybe your apartment, you know, like
Yeah, it's doable.
under rent.
Yeah.
So it's really good triangle actually because it's easy to manage. Yeah, that's
And
nice.
then during the summer go to Dalmatia a little bit, and then when it's winter go to Bali. You know, it's if you have an online job, it's all possible.
Yeah.
It's really possible. Just not to be tied to one place. This would kill me, I think, if I have to go somewhere like physically.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Stuck somewhere in Australia.
Yeah, no. So yeah,
Yeah, it was
Belgrade
really
for
nice.
the rest of the year, and then also.
yeah, hopefully you will stay here and make your triangle. It's good setup. Yeah, I can imagine
Hope
that's
so.
working.
Hope so.
Yeah, it was nice to talk to you. Nice
You
to
too.
listen,
Thank you so much for having
to
me.
your opinion from Croatia on the Bali and Belgrade and Zagreb. Very very nice to meet like people from different countries. Not,
It is.
not
It
only
is.
from US but also like from Croatia, because here a lot of Americans, but we need more diverse people. Yeah. So
Like everywhere. It's true.
yeah.
Thank you, Anna.
Yeah, it was nice to talk to you. Hope guys you also enjoy it and learn something about Croatia, Bali and Belgrade. And we'll see you next time, next interview. See you guys, bye.